I'm going to tell you about the day my card got declined in front of a crowded supermarket, the day a grown man like me became a punchline, and the day a barefoot little girl walked up and flipped the room. Have you ever felt your whole character judged by one blinking word on a tiny screen? Would you have kept your head down? Or would you have spoken up if it were you? It was a warm Saturday downtown, the kind of morning where fresh bread smells drift out of the bakery and the fruit aisle looks like a paint palette. Carts clattering, voices bouncing off tile, life doing what it does. I wore a plain t-shirt and old sneakers on purpose. I moved slower than the rush, now it helps me listen. My basket wasn't fancy rice, beans, pasta, a little fruit milk cookies, a box of chocolate milk tucked on top. Not for me, not exactly, more like a grocery list for a life I hope to encourage a mother and her kid. I'd seen outside on the curb. The cashier rang it up, told me the total. I slid my card into the reader without a thought, and the word hit like a slap I didn't see coming. Declined. She gave me the soft smile, the one kind cashiers keep for bad moments, asked if I wanted to try again. I nodded, tried again, same word, same beep. The line tightened, and you could hear the patience drain, that hush that isn't quiet. The kind with throat clears and little sighs that say, "Hurry up, man." A couple phones lifted as if no one was filming. You know that move, the chin tilt, the pretend casual look. Be honest, if it were you, would your stomach have dropped? Would you have wanted to vanish into the cereal display? Before I could call the bank, a new voice cut in, not friendly. The manager, Leonard, crisp shirt, combed hair, the kind of posture that announces itself 2 steps ahead. "Some problem here?" he asked, like a statement, not really asking. The cashier explained, and he looked at me, then at the basket like he was calculating my worth, then back at me with a smirk. "If you can't pay, we need to free up the register. A lot of people are waiting." I kept my voice level 1 minute. "I'm checking the app. It has to be an error." He laughed, just enough for the crowd. "The error is not having money and trying to play rich." He wasn't quiet about it, and I felt the chuckles hit my back like little stones. I'm not a shouter, never have been. Grief made me quieter, not louder. So I just swallowed and stood there, heat rising up my neck, holding a phone I suddenly didn't want. Pattern interrupt. Then I heard a child. He bought this for me and my mom. She was at my elbow, bare feet, shirt too big, hair tied any old way, 7 years old. Maybe her eyes steady in a room full of adults pretending not to stare. "We didn't ask for anything," she said. "He saw us on the sidewalk. He wanted to help. He's nice, he's not a thief." The whole line changed shape, you could feel it, like the room shifted an inch, and everyone had to plant their feet again. Leonard's smirk slipped, not much, but enough that I saw it. I crouched to her height, asked if her mom was with her. She pointed through the glass. A woman sat on the curb, holding a plastic bag, the way you hold yourself together when money is tight and life is tighter. I looked at the cashier. "Please set the basket aside, I'll take care of it." And I walked out with the girl beside me, the crowd parting like they suddenly remembered their better selves. I tried the card again after I unlocked it in the app, some security flag I hadn't seen, and this time it beeped, that little miracle beep we all wait for. Approved. I took the receipt, folded it once, looked at Leonard, and said one sentence I meant. With my whole chest, embarrassment isn't the problem. Real shame is treating people like garbage because you think you can. No point scoring, no victory lap, just a fact placed on the counter, like exact change. Outside, the girl tugged my sleeve and led me across the street to her mom. Camille stood, drew her daughter a little closer, wary, but not hostile, like someone who has learned to inspect good news for cracks. He helped the girl, said, "We're hungry." I kept my hands visible, voice steady. "I saw you both and thought I could do something small, that's all." We walked to a park bench, shared a chocolate milk that tasted like a truce, and let the city flow around us. Bus squeaks, pigeons arguing, an ice cream cart bell ringing like hope on a budget. I ask the questions you ask when you're trying to help without making someone feel small. Where are you sleeping? Any luck with the shelter? Is she in school? The answers were short: shelter, when there's space under the overpass, when there isn't paperwork blocking school. Too many doors that say, come back later. I'm not a hero, I'm a man who has lost enough to know what absence feels like. My wife Marianne died in a crash 2 years back, and ever since noise hurts, applause feels like sand, and I walk the city in a plain shirt to remember how to breathe. So I made a simple offer if you want. I can walk you both to the shelter tonight, no strings, just company on the way. We got there before closing. An employee recognized Camille and made room for 2 beds. I stood across the street and watched the gate close. The streetlight hummed, my phone buzzed the bank's explanation. Unusual activity, automatic block, nothing to see here. Except there was. A little itch at the base of my neck, not fear, not anger, just that quiet buzz that means something's off. Hold that thought. Next morning, I brought breakfast to the same bench, 2 pastries, paper cups of coffee that always burn your tongue, if you rush it. And when Anna saw me across the park, she lit up like someone had turned the day on. Camille stood too guard up, yes, but softer now, like her shoulders had remembered how to drop half an inch. I told her the truth. I'm not here out of obligation, I want to be here. And she searched my face for the lie and didn't find one. We hit the corner market, she chose basics. I slipped 2 chocolates into the basket, one for now, one for later, and we walked back to the bench where real life sounds better than any music. A few days later, I handed her a key, small worn metal, the kind that warms up in your palm. I know a place nearby, quiet, empty for now, a friend's spot. I watch when he travels. If you want a lock that turns and a hot shower for a few nights, take this. She froze, pride doing math with safety. Just a few days, she said, and I promised, just a few days. The house was simple, old iron gate, 2 rooms, a kitchenette, a backyard with an apple tree that leaned like it had opinions. Anna flopped onto a bed and yelled, "Are you serious? We can stay here." And the way Camille looked at the key, I still believe in yes because of looks like that. Then I asked a question. I didn't plan the kind that opens a door you weren't sure was there. Did you ever love a kind of work that made your hands forget the clock? She laughed, shy, said she trained as a stylist before Anna was born. Life got in the way, she never made it back. I took her to a small glass door on a friendly corner, fresh paint still sweet in the air, a mirror leaning on the wall. 2 used salon chairs I'd picked up from a friend, a counter waiting to be scuffed by real life, and I told her the truth. The space is mine, but it can be yours to run if you want it. She shivered, not from fear, from possibility. You know that tremble when something good might finally be for you. We set it up together, dryers, hand mirrors, jars, lined like soldiers. Anna drew pictures of brushes with capes, and by day's end the place had a heartbeat you could almost hear. The first neighbor wandered in for a trim, left smiling, and said, "I'll tell my sister." Then a second came for a wash, then a third for a quick dusting on the ends. $70 went into a little tin box that looked like a treasure chest because it was. Camille's smile that night could have lit the sign we didn't have. Pattern interrupt. So far, so good, right? Stick around because what happened next will blow your mind. That itch about my card wouldn't leave me alone. I called the bank again, insisted on details, sat through the elevator music, gave my answers, and the rep lowered her voice. There was a manual fraud report tied to your number submitted minutes before your purchase, sir. It forced a precautionary block. Manual. As in someone typed a lie and hit send. Have you ever felt the air change around you when the last puzzle piece clicks back of the neck, cold, jaw tight, heart oddly calm? I filed a formal request with security to trace the source. I had a guess. You probably do too. While the request crawled, Leonard went to work the way cowards work, not face to face, but in shadows. He fed a local gossip blog, a story reclusive businessman helping a woman with a questionable past. He even pulled copies of Camille's shelter intake papers and turned survival into scandal. The post ran ugly, and easy comments poured in from people who didn't know either of us, but felt very sure. Next morning, flyers appeared near the salon, and outside the school where Anna was trying to enroll words like leech and con artist in bold lies, printed cheap but loud. Camille picked one up, and her hands shook, then her face went stone still, the way it does when the blow is too clean to dodge. Do you think that's fair, honestly? If that paper landed on your doorstep, would you believe the headline, or would you knock and ask? I asked if we should go to the police. She said if we do that, it turns into a circus. Anna is already trying to breathe at school. I don't want to make our life a stage. So Camille took a marker and printer paper and did something braver. She wrote a note and taped it to the salon door. I'm Camille, yes, I've been homeless. Yes, I've survived what many couldn't. Yes, I've been helped. But the salon is mine. The work is mine. The story is mine. If you want your hair done with me, you're welcome. If you don't, that's okay too. I won't bow my head for lies. Neighbors read it. One knocked and asked for a quick wash. Another said, I like honesty, and sat in the chair. The air shifted a half shade toward decent. Now the part I messed up. Success can turn helpers into managers without you noticing. And I started bringing posters and mock logos suggesting chair placement and lighting angles and uniforms and a big price board. It came from fear and love. I wanted her safe, booked, undeniable, but help that steps on agency is just control with a nicer voice. Camille set down her dryer, looked me in the eye. I'm grateful truly, but sometimes it feels like you don't trust me to run my own life. That landed probably because it was the truest thing in the room. I apologized, promised to be near without steering, and meant it. If it were you, would you want a partner who grabs the wheel or sits shotgun with snacks and a map? While we learned each other's rhythm, the smear spread into places it didn't belong. Anna got whispers at school, 2 clients canceled, and one gray afternoon, Camille tried to straighten a shelf, and the room tilted, breath short, hands numb, sweat in air sure that wasn't hot. A panic that tells you your body forgot how to be a body. A client found her on the floor, handed her water. Sat quietly until the world steadied. That night, she didn't answer my messages next morning. The salon stayed dark, and I walked the city with my hands in my pockets, like maybe the pavement had answers. Outside the school, I saw Anna sitting on the steps, tracing circles on the concrete. With one finger, I sat beside her, and she asked the question that broke me open. Are you going to disappear too because adults always disappear when things get hard? I told her no, I'm not promise. Promise is a heavy word. I meant it. 2 days later, the trace came back. The anonymous fraud report that made my card scream declined started on the store's Wi-Fi, and the smear messages to the blog mapped to the IP at the house where Leonard was living. You ever watch a bully write his name in mud and call it a secret? My attorney filed defamation claims, sent preservation notices, made a neat stack of receipts that says consequences in a language even cowards understand. We didn't make it a media show, we made it a paper trail. And then life pulled a twist that wasn't payback, it was grace. I'd told Camille my wife died. What I hadn't said is that Marianne was a nurse. I was digging through a box of her things when I found a photo from the hospital. Taped to the back was her handwriting. Round and careful today, I cared for a man who won't be going home, but his wife waited with a little girl. She thanked me with her eyes, without words, I'll never forget. The name on the chart in the photo, Roger. Camille's husband. I took the picture to her house, the place dim, the kitchen bulb humming like a tired bee, and handed it to her with hands I had to make stop shaking. She read the note twice, then looked at me, her mouth open with no sound. Before any of this, our lives crossed in that hallway. I said, "My wife cared for your husband. You thanked her with your eyes. I think she would want me to tell you. She saw you, and she never forgot." Camille pressed the photo to her chest and cried the kind of cry that cleans you from the inside. Maybe the world closes circles when we need them closed. We reopened the salon with no fanfare, just a door unlocked and coffee brewing. The first day back, a neighbor came for a dusting on the ends. Then a mom with a stroller squeezed in before nap time. Then a guy brought his grandma because she trusted Camille's hands. More than any fancy place, we swept hair and laughed at the foam that tried to escape the sink, and the room felt like it remembered us. I learned when to shut up and when to make the kind of bad joke that turns a nervous smile into a real one. Anna brought a friend who blew bubblegum into planets, and the cash box filled just enough to look hopeful. Across town, Leonard got served. He yelled online about free speech and witch hunts, then went quiet sometimes. Justice looks like a phone that won't ring back. Here's where I ask you straight. Do you think it's right that a man with a name tag can humiliate a stranger for sport? That an anonymous tip line built for safety can be used as a weapon? That a blog can launder cruelty for clicks and call it news? Or do you think dignity should be a baseline, not a luxury brand? If it were you behind that register, would you have laughed, looked down at your screen, or stepped forward like Anna did? You know what I hope the answer is now. The three of us don't use the word family lightly. We've all lost enough to be careful with it. But one night over garlic bread that was never hot enough, Anna said it like kids say, weather. Matter of fact, we have a house now and a salon and a family, and we didn't correct her. We fixed the crooked sign. We argued over whether the chairs should face the window or the big mirror. We learned the sound of our laughter coming back in pieces, then all at once. I'm not a hero. I'm a man who sometimes tries to fix too much, who had to learn that help without humility is just control in a polite suit. Camille taught me that. And a 7-year-old with bare feet taught me that truth spoken simply can turn a room faster than any speech. Yeah, that happened. So here's where we land, satisfying for some, maybe controversial for others. Leonard will answer for what he did in the slow way the real world works, not with fireworks, with paperwork. The bank changed some internal checks after my complaint. The blog posted a correction buried under new drama. The school stepped in harder on hallway gossip. And still we live in a place where humiliation can trend faster than kindness, where bystanders hold up phones instead of hands. That's the argument I'm making to you, not as a saint, as a man still learning dignity should not depend on a child stepping forward to name it. Do you agree? Do you think I went too far getting involved? Would you have done less or more? If you felt this, tell me where you're watching from. Tell me the moment that hit you. Tell me if you've stood in a checkout line and felt the room turn on you, or if you were the person who turned the room back toward decent. Drop a simple "I would" if you'd step in next time, or tell me why you wouldn't. I can take it. I want to hear it. Like the video. If you want more stories that start ordinary and end somewhere better, share it with someone who needs the reminder that one sentence can change a day, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. I'll meet you in the comments, listening, arguing, learning. Your turn.